You here? Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining. We want to welcome you to our very special webinar titled Harnessing the Power of Digital Platforms for America 250. It's proudly hosted by Pigeon Tech. My name is Michael Halbert, and I'm honored to serve as your moderator and one of today's speakers. As we gather here today, we're standing on the threshold of a historic milestone, the 250th anniversary of America independence in 2026. America 250 is more than a commemoration. It's an opportunity to reflect on our shared past, celebrate our present, and envision a future shaped by innovation, unity, and engagement. The digital revolution has transformed every aspect of our lives, from the way we connect and learn to how we preserve and share our stories. For America 250, digital platforms are not just tools, they're powerful bridges that can unite communities, amplify underrepresented voices, and inspire a new generation to participate in the American way. Today's session is designed to explore how technology, through digital tools, virtual experiences, online collaboration, and innovative outreach can help us make America 250 a truly inclusive, impactful, and memorable celebration. We'll discuss why digital engagement is essential for reaching today's audiences during America 250, how interactive storytelling can enhance historic experiences, real-world insights from the Freedom Journey app, a project honoring the journey of freedom seekers, and strategies for amplifying diverse voices and engaging broader communities. We encourage you to participate actively, ask questions, share your own experience, and connect with fellow attendees. This is a space for learning, inspiration, and collaboration. Before we begin, a few quick notes. The session will be recorded and shared with all registrants. We encourage you and ask you to use the Q&A feature to submit your questions at any time, and we'll address as many as possible during our discussion. Let's harness this moment to imagine what's possible when technology and community come together. Thank you so much for joining, and let's dive in. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce our expert speaker for today's webinar, Ms. Holly Bryans-Ragusa. Holly is an interdisciplinary writer, speaker, poet, and community activist based in Cincinnati, Ohio. She is the author of an acclaimed memoir, Meet the End, in 2022, as well as Dying to Know Myself in Time, in Verse, in 2023, and Tilt a World in 2024. Her writings have appeared in Psychology Today, the Cincinnati Enquirer, USA Today, and numerous literary journals. As president of the Ohio Poetry Association Holly's leadership extends across a range of nonprofits, organizations focused on the arts, education, and social justice. She has served as a director, advisor, and board member for several Cincinnati nonprofits and is known for her commitment to community building, advocacy, and creative engagement. Holly's journey is deeply personal and inspiring. Her memoir, Meet the End, chronicles her family's resilience in the face of tragedy and her own path towards healing and truth. This lived experience fuels her passion for storytelling and her belief in the transformative power of digital platforms to connect, heal, and empower communities. Holly is instrumental in implementing the Freedom Journey app. This key digital component of the broader America River Roots initiative, culminating in the America River Roots Festival scheduled for October 25. This festival will be a flagship event in the National America 250 commemoration, marking 250 years of America independence. We're really thrilled to have Holly with us today to share her insights on how digital platforms can be harnessed for national storytelling, engagement, and unity as we approach America 250. Please join me in welcoming Miss Holly Bryans Ragusa.
Thank you, Michael. That's a very warm welcome. And thank you all for being here today. It's a pleasure to share this space with you. And I'd like to sincerely thank everyone at Pigeon Tech, VJ and VJ Anthony, Michael, Anurag, everybody, the whole team for inviting me to speak here today. What a timely topic. Discussing the harnessing the power of digital platforms for America 250. I think also, Michael, timely not only for America's River Roots as an organization, but as an opportunity for other organizations.
Absolutely.
Our organization, America's River Roots, is, as you said, hosting the kickoff event for the United States semi-quincentennial, which I'll encourage you all to learn to say before the big event. It's a tongue twister, but I enjoy big words. So semi-quincentennial, and our festival is a one-of-a-kind festival that aims to combine music and cuisine and culture to celebrate our region and uplift that which we share. So I believe there's many other states and cities and towns that will have events planning the same sort of celebration leading up to this big event in our nation's history. And as we aim to share these stories and boost cultural tourism and help those economies grow, I think that this opportunity for digital platforms has great potential to connect people and place. I think one of the things that we were talking about when we met last week, Michael, is how everything is boiled down to something this small in your pocket now, and how these phones are getting smarter. And that makes us somewhat smarter, I hope, and that we can hold history and the ease of access to it just right in our pockets. And that these digital platforms have been a wave slowly building and slowly moving towards ways to showcase how technology can bring together our unique stories, our regional specific entities and organizations and efforts, and our site specific places that bring people together in meaningful and unforgettable ways. I think that that deep meaning is ingrained in where we all live and grow. But convenience and accessibility help us all retain and share that knowledge. So our work with Pigeon Tech on our Freedom Journey app has been a beautiful example of that. And I've really enjoyed getting to know the team and understanding the process that builds such an incredible legacy project. And that's what that Freedom Journey app has become, a real legacy to the uniqueness of this region. I'm working on another app with Pigeon Tech called the Riverwalk app through America's River Routes as well. And so I'll talk a bit more about that and then return to the Freedom Journey, if that's all right with you, Michael. Okay, great. So this Riverwalk app will map out a 4.2-mile riverfront walking trail connecting Cincinnati's southern Ohio riverfront to Kentucky's northern riverfront across 2 bridges. And we will hold historical highlights and space for gamification features within that app that will hope to engage the public and especially families and children in learning more about this area that they call home. Kelly Kolar, one of our co-founders, uses the word edutainment.
I
And
like
I
that.
think it's a really great way to describe what we're aiming to do here is to educate and entertain and bring people a platform that allows them both without making it seem cumbersome or burdensome. So, this Riverwalk will allow people to understand how Cincinnati was founded and how this river specifically built up this area from westward expansion to industrialization to our ecology and our specific cultural tourism economy. So, this gives us an opportunity to share the key individuals, the key events, and the specific sites that hold these stories and can share them in perpetuity. So, we will have specific stops along the Riverwalk Trail that people can check out. They'll understand the patronage and donors that have provided access for parks and specific art structures and educational placards. And then we'll have these gamification features that we've worked with the dev team at Pigeon Tech to develop, and we're still working on that one. So that's been a lot of fun to brainstorm and build our backlog. And one of the things that I think is going to be engaging is to have some trivia questions. A lot of people, trivia is trending right now. So a lot of people learn through uh, games and trying to understand what was and what can be. So we'll have some of those specific features and some rewards for children who are along on these walks to keep them engaged in the process. And I think one of the things that we're really hoping from this specific Riverwalk app is to not only propel people forward, literally and figuratively, to move on these award-winning Riverwalk fronts. These river fronts are really something special and hold a deep meaning around the Ohio River, but also they have their own identities. When you connect a region with 2 or 3 bridges and people are walking and driving through them as one specific location, it's unique. And I think we'd like to harness that bridge building and community effort that even branding around our region from Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky is called Cincy. That whole region will be uplifted, and we can help the businesses and the specific preservation sites that are making efforts every day to keep our history alive and engaging and uplift those sites for people. That includes anything from the Reds baseball team Hall of Fame museum to specific statuary that has been built to recognize key individuals in the area, leading back to Native Americans with Little Turtle and James Bradley, who was an enslaved individual who sought freedom and found it. And there's statuary of all those people, including Mary Green, who is the first riverboat captain that was female. So we're uplifting all of those unique sites along the walk. And on the Cincinnati side, we have an enormous statue of Cincinnatus, who was that selfless leader a long time ago in Roman times, who is encouraged societies around his name, and even George Washington was referred to as America's Cincinnatus. So we're able to uplift those stories and share some of the real efforts that corporations and individuals have enabled throughout our region. And that is one of many ways that we can bring to people the knowledge of the spaces they live in. And I think that every region has that potential. So I hope that a lot of people adopt these specific platforms within their own regions and initiatives so that they can share the specific, interesting, and engaging histories that they have with their communities. Cincinnati or Cincy region is a very interesting area because of that river, and we've relied on it so greatly. It has brought business and immigration and an incredible amount of music and food into our region. So we have a really wide and varied culture. And part of the America's River Roots Festival initiative is to share what we share. And that's always more than people remember. But everyone can come together around food and music and pride in our region. So, this specific festival aims to combine those key elements of our enjoyment and living into a festival on October 8th through 12th that engages both sides of the riverfront and shares with our community and a wider demographic what Cincy has to share. Part of that is the Freedom Journey app because our region is very specifically unique to that freedom story because of the Ohio River being that beacon of freedom. And Michael, would you like me to share a bit about that process, or do you have any specific question around it before I?
No, I think that that's would be wonderful if you could share some of that information. And prep, is it possible to talk about how the interactive audio guides or the digital avatars can be leveraged to bring that to life for you?
Sure, sure.
Mm,
And I think that was part of our lesson with
mm.
working with the dev team was just what was possible, you
Yeah,
know?
what was possible?
And I think that specific to the freedom journey, we worked across 3 states and 18 counties to create these engaging stops and key sites and recognize the individuals. And Pigeon Tech really helped us tell those stories. We were able to have specific tiles that easily and intuitively lead you towards the information, that updated links and visuals so easily and smoothly, and we were able to upload video content and digital assets, including documents. And we were also able to add audio to bring in voice actors to bring those narratives to life. And I think that was a really important piece of that specific app because these stories are profound and they have a real resonance now, and I think have timeless lessons we can learn. So having those voices not only brought those stories to life, but also created accessibility, which I think is a key part of what we'd like to do with America's River Roots is reach as many people as we can in as many ways as we can. So it was really important to have those added in, and it was a seamless process with Pigeon Tech.
That's wonderful. Did you leverage some virtual reality for wayfinding?
So we are using virtual reality on the Riverwalk app.
Mhm.
There were some um, part of telling the freedom journey story was to be sure that we gave it the reverence that it deserved. And we determined across discussions that we would, other than having visual access points for people to reference, that we would leave gamification off of that particular app. we felt as if bringing um, some type of virtual reality would require more intention and thought behind it before we did that. So we intend to use some augmented reality around the Riverwalk app and
Mhm.
create some visuals that will help people see what was and what is. And so I'm really excited to work with the dev team on that piece specific to the Riverwalk app. And I think that some of the features that we have yet to even learn on with the gamification features specifically are going to be real interesting and fun. But one of the features that I thought was important on the Freedom Journey app was a share feature so that we could create awareness around not only the stories themselves, but around the app. So if someone is at a key site, they've driven to a specific place and are learning about that place from the app and potentially even going inside and learning from a museum or a historical society or a cemetery placard, whatever they're learning from, you could then share that specific site with anyone else. You could text it to them. There's many different ways. You could utilize social media and allow those people to be on that freedom journey with you. So you're sharing those pieces. And that was a feature that was added halfway through our process, that it just occurred to me that this was something that really needed to be word of mouth, which was exactly how the Underground Railroad worked. And
Yeah.
it felt very tied to the process and to the history to create that feature with the Freedom Journey app. So the dev team worked on that and came up with a great solution. It's a wonderful feature. So we're really happy about that.
Holly, VJ had I think, a question or comment to add.
Sure.
Sure. So, Holly, I was wondering if you are allowed to show the Freedom Journey app, even on the Play Store or Android store, App Store. So, attendees can download it, play with it, and reach back to you if they want to implement it for their organization or ask any more questions. I think they will be able to connect more.
Absolutely. Do you want to? I guess I could encourage everyone right now to go to their app stores and download the Freedom Journey app. It's on Google or Apple app stores. And, again, everything is so easy in your hand now. But when I go on the Freedom Journey, it pops up and asks me if I'd like to share my location so that it can take me. And I know we're backwards here, but there it is on my phone, and it's a stunning, a beautiful visual app that allows you seamlessly to discover specifically what you'd like to or build your own adventure. As I say, you can create your own custom tours or use some of our predetermined tours. But I do hope that everyone here will download that app and use it as a tool to understand what's possible in your area. Srisis and Pigeon Tech have been really instrumental in helping the America's River Roots team share our stories of our region. But again, I think this is a fractal just waiting to expand. There's a lot of cities who could utilize these sorts of digital platforms for their own cultural tourism.
Thanks, Holly.
Thank you. And, just to speak, River Roots we're so proud to partner with, thank you, VJ, for everything you've done, but we're terribly proud to partner with you because your professionalism and your integrations have been just top notch. We've been really pleased. Excellent project managers, creative problem solvers, such a can-do attitude, and such truly, I'd say, civility and kindness. And it's been an absolute pleasure to work with you. Part of the River Roots effort and festival will also include an event app. And that app, the strategy behind that is to enable the people at the festival to build their own journey and itinerary. And they'll do that through smart API integration with the website. The website will have some feature, have its own place, but then in hand, you'll be able to download that app and get where you need to go. It'll have a great user experience design to make it very intuitive. and a good wayfinding for physical navigation at the festival. The festival itself is across 2 states and 2 bridges, and it's a 1.3-mile footprint on the Cincinnati side alone. So it's important to have a tool that allows people to access where they're going, what time a show starts, is there parking, where's the restroom, all of the things that are important to finding a successful experience, to creating a successful experience. So I think that we are in good hands. And I know that America's River Roots is really honored to be working with Pigeon Tech and to develop these great digital platforms.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd love to answer any questions specific to the Freedom Journey app, which, as Michael so kindly elucidated in the introductory remarks, has been a deep part of my work. And there was an extensive accreditation process and quite a lot of learning through that experience. And I think that with the dev team and we have such a great rapport now, and we understand specifics so much better to strategizing and creating these platforms, that the Riverwalk app will be a breeze in comparison. But we've really relied heavily on the development team to help us tell these very deep historical and meaningful stories in a way that people could navigate and engage with. So if there's anyone who had specific questions about the Freedom Journey app, I would love to address those.
I can ask you a question, Holly, because I know working on the Freedom Journey app, how many partners did you work? Because I wanted the audience to understand, and how much weight lift has been done to get this app done. Could you just give some numbers of how many partners you have brought into the Freedom Journey app?
Absolutely. Well, we were in a collaborative process from the get-go. We worked with the National Underground Railroad Freedom Journey, or Freedom Center, and the Cincinnati Museum Center specifically to go through an accreditation process. So those were our key partners. Then we had specific donors that came to the table, the America 250 Ohio, of course, and then local generous philanthropists saw the vision and contributed to it. So we consider them partners in the process and updated them throughout. We additionally, I worked with all the historical organizations across the Southern Ohio River border and created approximately a dozen partners to help give context and broaden our research opportunity and deepen the meaning behind these stories. So within that process, you're already looking at approximately near 20 partners that we worked with to bring this app into being. And I don't think that that is something that every city needs to accomplish, but in doing that, you bring enough energy to the table that the vision is conveyed. And once you convey a vision to someone, they can understand what you're attempting to do. So I would encourage anyone that is seeking to bring an app like this to their area that celebrates the history, shares the meaningful stories, that they dig into the partners that have already been playing roles that maybe just haven't been connected. So our efforts, I think, were really timely, not just because of the America's 250, but because one of the first gatherings of the Underground Railroad was happened last fall, and the second one will happen this fall. And through that process, I was able to meet a lot of other people that were able to contribute in this effort, and they've helped us uplift this app. We've even had local organizations such as Ohio River Way and the Cincinnati Preservation Association add the app and its access points into their newsletters and into their emails, connecting to their memberships. And that's part of the opportunity that can really widen once you bring partners into the fold. And it's a ripple effect. I think, especially given this River Roots Festival, we need all the ripple effects we can get to move our stories, our narratives, our educational components into the greater world and community. And we are doing that through these specific apps and utilizing technology in a lot of ways to host educational content and cross-pollinate with a lot of our organizations so that we are all sharing, so all boats rise together, pardon the pun, and we pull ourselves into this great festival that celebrates so much of what we share.
Thanks,
Ali, I
Holly.
think Anurag had a comment.
Hi, Anurag.
Yeah. Yes, Michael, we have a question from Bigot.
Oh,
What has been the biggest challenge with building the Freedom Journey app?
good.
Could you just repeat that 1 second? Something dropped off. I apologize.
Yeah. So, what has been the biggest challenge with building the Freedom Journey app?
I would say, and I see another question in the chat here from the Ohio Historical Records Advisory Board. Part of the, I would say, the largest hurdle was authenticity. There was a real need to have actual fact-based information out there. We wanted to make sure that there weren't disparities, discrepancies. We wanted to make sure we highlighted what lore and legend and rumor looked like, because we didn't want to discredit what communities have built up within their local vernaculars and storytelling devices. But we also wanted to make sure that we highlighted those specific sites that had received accreditation and recognition. And you'll notice in the app that, and Robin, I'll ask you to engage with this too. Robin's posted the question in the chat. We worked specifically to see which sites were accredited by the National Park Service Network to Freedom. And they are a standard bearer for recognizing sites for quite a long time. And there's a deep process to go through, rigorous vetting. And when a site is recognized as one of those Underground Railroad sites, it is because there is enough information, documentation, and discernment to do so. So that was a big part of our effort, was the accreditation process. So we worked from August through May to be sure that we had everything, every word was carefully crafted, that the statements, there was sensitivity to specific communities, there was new and updated research standards and content available. So a lot of what we had to work with was the accreditation process. So I would say that was likely the biggest hurdle for us. I see another question. That was a nice comment. Sorry, I'm just reading all the chats, but I'm hoping that that answered the question. Working with the development team was, I think in this particular instance, it was important to have such a good team who understood our vision. And, you know, there were a lot of pieces that needed to come into play when you had other people weighing in on the narratives that would be shared. So there was a need for patience and diligence, and we were so grateful to have that with Pigeon Tech. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, apparently so.
Okay, good. And I think, thank you, Bridget. And for Robin, was I able to answer some of yours? I hear that you'd love to pull together findings into an app, and how would you go about doing it? So I think first, just to right out the gate, the elephant in the room is always funding. You know, you really need to find funding. That could include writing a grant or having donors and approaching crowdsourcing. But building it in community is terribly important, because only when you have funding can you create a platform, and that platform needs to be served. So one of the things that you need to do is create opportunities for people to fund your vision. And by getting families involved, that may be an interesting step to start broadening your network and reaching into those pockets that need to be reached into. So I would say that would be a first step, but I'm happy to discuss that with you after. Michael, do we have another question?
Well, I saw one, maybe you answered it. What were some of the unique challenges and opportunities of
Mm,
using a digital platform in historical and cultural events like America 250? That's a great question.
that is, thanks to you, Krishanevi. I think that some of those challenges, again, they begin with funding. Elephant in the room, you have to have funding. So if you've secured funding, that's always a unique challenge. If you've secured funding for it, then you have to find hosting. So you have to understand who's going to host it and what partners might mutually benefit from doing so. So in our case, we were able to utilize our partnership with the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, and they were able to see the connected value to their mission, and they will host it on their website so that people have access to it and can understand the work that went in and how those stories dovetail really importantly with the work that they do there. So one challenge, again, funding, and then the other is partnership. Those are also opportunities. So, in every instance where you're creating an opportunity for someone to engage with a vision, you're giving them a chance to buy in or invest into what you're creating. So, if you are building a specific cultural storytelling device around, let's just say that your community has always worked with pottery, and that art form has been from the beginning of that community. There's been potters that have contributed. There's artists that have award winning and have really integrated into the community's feel. And maybe there's even a museum and specific galleries and exhibits around that specific art form. Well, within that community, they may want to build an app that allows people to understand how to continue that art form, how to carry those stories forward. So I'm obviously using one small example, but when you think about the pottery, just pottery alone, it's something that people have to learn a skill. So then you're uplifting educators and workshops. You're uplifting artistic institutions that potentially offer those classes. You then are uplifting the artists themselves that are selling the wares. You're even uplifting the suppliers that provide the clay or the local tools or kilns that. So I hope I'm making my point that depending on what your specific topic or cultural aspect that you hope to uplift, and it could be just a community itself that within it has all of those pieces from culture, cuisine, and music. When those pieces all come together, you naturally will have partners. That creates opportunity for them. It's just about looking at it from a global view and understanding the Venn diagram of living that we share. Understanding that we all touch each other in some meaningful way. You know, the person who drives the materials, the person who packages them, the person who tells the stories and prints them, all of these pieces connect. And a digital platform allows us to uplift and celebrate all of those pieces together while giving them an opportunity to support um, any of those digital platforms. So, you know, whether that's through promotion, creating awareness, sponsoring, or supporting events that enable people to understand more of what you're trying to accomplish. So I hope that helps.
Holly, could I ask a question? You mentioned getting sponsorship and writing grants and such. And if there are major employers in your area and you can partner with them, did you utilize any of the Pigeon Tech capabilities of putting a message like a little commercial sponsorship message on the Pigeon Tech app. Was
Well,
that
we
used?
just are putting that in now with there's a specific event happening with the America's River Roots Festival that ties into the Freedom Journey app.
Hmm.
And so we are running a promotional banner soon to
Oh.
engage people with a link to purchase tickets to attend that specific cruise to learn more about the Freedom Journey.
Oh.
So there's absolutely opportunity for that. And I think
Hmm.
one of the promotional aspects or even fundraising aspects is getting your name out there and creating those spaces for people to understand that you've supported something like this. So we definitely reached into corporate, hands and partners, and are grateful for the people who have supported not only the festival itself, but this app. And we've had some generous support, and our funders are, institutions and foundations who believe in carrying these stories forward.
Mhm. How difficult was it to select the various different stories to include in the Pigeon Tech app? You have such an enormous, rich, and long time period of history. That must have been a challenge.
Oh, what a great question. Michael, it was an embarrassment of riches as far as stories to tell. Honestly, I think that we could have kept going. We could keep going. I could be doing it the rest of my life and still not tell every story. I'm certain there'll be people who say, well, what about this story? And what
Mhm.
about that story?
Mhm.
And write it, I say. But in this instance, we had a deadline of trying to get this app together prior to the festival so that we could utilize the festival to share and create awareness around these stories. So in our instance, we had from the time we began to the time we finished was just over, I think, 14 or 15 months. And by the time we actually first met with the dev team to the time we launched it. So for us, there was a limit that had to be there. And for others, if you had an opportunity to continue to add to it, which we could potentially do, if our partners see the advantage of continuing it and growing it, then we could continue to add stories to it. But I think in any instance, you have to. What did Da Vinci say? Art is never finished. You have to abandon it. And in this instance, I think that's what we had to do. We had to select as many stories as we could that highlighted the bridge between Cincinnati and Kentucky, northern Kentucky, and even into West Virginia, because in this area along the southern Ohio River border, there were so many pathways, so many people helping, and so many brave freedom seekers finding their way north. And thankfully, there's documentation around a lot of it. Specific counties have their own versions of trails for their own cultural tourism, and we were able to leverage those and partner with them to uplift those stories and give further reach to those counties.
Mhm.
So, a lot of times people say, well, someone has already done this or someone has already done part of this, so I guess I can't, or it's in competition. I would really ask us not to create those false binaries and to really understand that building bridges means that you find ways forward together. It doesn't mean one side thrives only. So I would really have the conversations that find the paths forward and build bridges, because a lot of times people don't understand how how much more we can accomplish when we work together.
Mhm. Was there any challenges with urban
Michael?
legends or
Ma-
local lore? Oh, I'm sorry, Vijay.
Yeah, I want to add something to what Holly said. So the 14 or 15 months is not the actual time spent on developing the app or anything. It's from the ideation to the
Right.
closure process. to
Right.
get the funding and everything.
Yeah.
So, and Holly has to work with, once we started the project, I think it took like 120 days or 150 days max. But she worked with the 200 organizations in pulling the information, and for each and every organization, she went 3 or 4 times rewriting the content to make sure that she is putting in the language that particular organization wanted to show it. So it was a huge effort there, and she pulled it out very well.
Thank you,
But
VJ.
yeah, but the app, if you have the content, and I don't think everybody has to do that kind of weightlifting, but even for the event app or the river route app, we can deploy it in 9 to 10 weeks.
Yeah, but this was a very different effort, and that's including, as I mentioned, that accreditation process. So
Yeah.
the development team, that would not have taken nearly as long, certainly not. And I think that, like I said, with the Riverwalk app, it'll be really quick, and all that content will be given to them up front. It's already out in the public sphere, and we're just rewriting stories to engage with the history that's already out there. And we'll turn everything over to the team, and they will go fast. So we're really excited about that. Vijay, and I think, Michael, you had a question about lore.
Well,
Thank you.
yeah, I was just wondering, every state has a little bit of urban legend and
Mhm,
urban lore. Was
mhm.
any of that included in your mission?
It was because it was important to me as project and content director to make sure that we weren't in any way disabling people's storytelling or disabling people's ties to their community. So, what we did when we came across local lore or legend or rumor is we would address it as such. And
Such.
our stories just right off the bat said, local lore believes, or, the
Yeah.
local people share these stories that are rumored to have held. We just made sure that the language was clear.
Mhm.
And again, there was specific recognition for the Network to Freedom sites that help people understand specific sites that went through great rigor. I see another question here about Holly, do you think digital storytelling will strengthen community engagement? And I would say absolutely, especially after the launch of this app. And I think we've seen it across the board. The feedback, we've had quite a few media opportunities in front of the media, interviews and television and so forth, to share the engagement around these stories, and it sparks conversations that are at times hard to have. So I think one of the things that it does is it puts something before us and asks us to reevaluate it in today's time, and allows us to see how things were and how things can be. So right there, you've just opened up doors. Now, will there be opportunities for people to close doors? There's always been opportunity for people to close doors. But when you bring these stories into a digital platform, especially if you're attempting against all odds to make them fact-based and share these histories that may otherwise go either A, unrecognized, B, might be lost to history, or C, maybe just someone didn't get the recognition they really deserve for something they contributed to your area. These are ways to uplift and to retain and archive some of these incredible stories that have made us all who we are. And every specific city that we go to, whether it's through food or music or the ecology, you walk into a place and you have a vibe. Well, anyone who's creating something specific to their region is going to have to carry that vibe forward. And we have visual opportunities to do so. We have the audio and music files and all of the documentation that can create a feel and hold or be a repository for all of that local content and knowledge. And I think it's really empowering to be able to share that with a new generation that really they only access things on their phone. I mean, that's really the way that they receive and retain information. And while a lot of people say that kids have their faces in their phones too much, I know a lot of us adults do as well, because these are portals. These phones are portals to other worlds, other engagements, other experiences. And so I think that those stories come through in that way, and they engage us. One of the things that a lot of people may not realize is that through this Freedom Journey app, we're actually asking people to go into the communities, to go to these places, to drive to them. We've laid out tours where people can engage with specific coffee shops and restaurants and B&Bs, things that uplift the community itself, so they can create a staycation environment in your own town, and you can understand more about what's available to you. So yeah, I think it absolutely strengthens community engagement, or at least has the potential to, and can share which events might be coming as follow-up or kindred to, so that you can deepen your understanding of your region and the specific topics of interest.
Holly, I had another question for you.
Sure.
Did you leverage augmented reality? So, because you mentioned long periods of walking time and people have parking their car, the Pigeon Tech app has this wonderful ability to allow you to bookmark your car so that you could walk 3 miles or whatever, and and you can ask the Pigeon Tech app to take me back to my car.
Well,
And
we're going to do that with the Riverwalk app.
uh,
We haven't employed that on the Freedom Journey app. We were specific to the sites and allowed people through a public information, there's a summary of public information, allow people to know if there is street parking, because each site was so different. But most people were going to get out of their car and go into that specific site. So we didn't think there would be that long distance walking that we will have in the Riverwalk app and the Festival app.
I think it's really amazing when people can find their cars.
Oh, it is. It's an excellent tool. And especially if you've been somewhere all day and
Yeah.
maybe potentially roads have changed or another event is letting out or whatever, and you can't access it in the same way, it's really important to have that tool. And it's great
Yeah.
that Pigeon Tech offers it.
Yeah, it's really a nice feature for users to be able to find their car. And also, lunch venues and snack venues and such can be identified along the way too. It's very
Absolutely.
helpful.
It's
I just
very
didn't know
helpful.
if that was incorporated into your final app
It'll be in the Riverwalk app for
and the
sure.
Riverwalk.
I think that's a great and in the event app, because those are pieces that specifically will be asking people to walk to access their entertainment. So yes, for sure. Thank you, Michael. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Will the Wi-Fi and connectivity affect? That's a great question, Bridget. Will the Wi-Fi and connectivity affect the app usage during the festival? We encourage people to download the app so that they have it on their phone, and that Wi-Fi won't be as big of an issue. One of the things that I always do when I'm going anywhere is just to make sure that I've already run through my own itinerary. And what these apps are going to allow you to do is select your itinerary. So if you already have selected your itinerary, then and you've downloaded it, then I don't believe that will be an issue. And I believe Pigeon Tech is one of their key points is that they allow a smooth and seamless app experience. And so I'm really not concerned about that, especially if you've downloaded the app. But great question. But for anyone concerned, screenshot. I always screenshot, and just in case. Yeah, sure. Thanks, Bridget. Yeah.
To add to what Holly just said, Bridget, the app works offline, so you need not be online. You need not have Wi-Fi once you have downloaded the app. So it works even if you have a pure Wi-Fi, as no GPS signal. As long as you have downloaded it, that's it. It works, and it's this has been tested in the real scenarios in Texas where they have 1,800-acre zoo, and it works seamlessly for them. And there is no Wi-Fi or any hotspots or anything there.
Yeah, it was one of the reasons we were really drawn to the technology. We obviously hope to bring large numbers of people to this region. So that was one of our early conversations, wasn't it, VJ, with Kelly?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So Kelly, sorry, Holly, let me ask you one question. Kelly and the other leadership team was saying, do you know how many members would be attending this event between October 8 to 12? They gave me some numbers and I was like, almost fell off from the chair understanding the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the specifics, but I know that the hope is more than 1.5 million. I mean, the hope is to have, hotels sold out and people packing spaces and stages and coming in to the river and really reveling on the river, as is one of our taglines. But yes, I think the numbers will be large. I'm really excited about some of the musical acts that have been announced and more that will come. And we're also bringing in a lot of cultural local culture to the festival. So we'll have emerging and local artists. We'll have specific Cincinnati Pops experiences. We'll have multicultural demonstrations. We will have an entire food bazaar and food trucks and bourbon tasting experiences. So many different things that without an app to explain to you everything that you have at your fingertips, I don't know how you would get around. It's going to be pretty great. I think the opportunities for fun are going to be incredible. And I certainly hope that our festival is as well attended as we hope, but also I know that it will be successful because the people that do come will have that app, that event app, and be able to navigate the festival. And it is a wide footprint. So it's important to have access to that.
Thank you, Holly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, our time is, we only have 2 minutes left, and I think that VJ wanted to do a little final speak, a little bit of closing out our webinar today. And so VJ is our CEO and has led this whole operation. So this is her vision, and we're just so happy that she was able to join the call today. So VJ, could you take the last couple minutes and close us out?
Sure. Thank you, Michael. And thanks, everyone. Thank you so much, for joining us today. Whether you represent a museum or a tourist board or a community organization, your presence shows that shared commitment in making America 250 and Homecoming 250 meaningful, inclusive, and lasting. Those are the memories that we want to create, right? So this is a really good way to do that. And also, as we approach the historic milestone, we have a powerful opportunity not to just honor the past, but also to connect new voices, untold stories, and future generations. Digital platforms are more than tools. They're bridges, like Holly kept on using, it's a bridge to help in deeper engagement and wider outreach. So definitely, we would encourage to go the digital way to have meaningful, inclusive, and lasting memories. And a special thank to Holly for sharing your inspiring story of River Roots and the vision behind the 3 apps. Your passion and leadership truly brought these initiatives to life, and a heartfelt thank you to the entire team, Michael and everybody working behind the scenes and for coordinating and getting this webinar organized. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. Hopefully today's conversation sparks some ideas on how technology can be used to elevate your mission, whether through interactive apps or smart navigation, storytelling, or any potential to create unforgettable experiences. I hope you consider digital tools. And Pigeon Tech, we are here to support you in this journey. If you're planning something or just exploring some ideas, I think Anurag shared some email IDs. We would be happy to have a conversation with you and help you, guide you. Once again, thank you for your time, your passion, and the important work you do. Let's build something incredible together for America 250 and the Homecoming 250. Thank you, everyone.
You all
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you, Vijay and Michael. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Anurag.
Holly, real pleasure. Thank you all
Absolutely.
very much.
Appreciate you all. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay.
Thanks,
Bye
everyone.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.